Guys are live there. I gotta somehow let me see what are we doing? What are we doing? Hang in there. Oh, that's it. Maybe it'll help if I pull the camera up. Then maybe you guys can see me. Hey, what's up? Uh, that's one of the things I wanted to hit on, and the other thing I wanted to hit on tonight is I want to get some feedback on both of these topics. I've been holding off on them, and we our school system. Uh, I want to know how y'all feel about the school system, and I ran into some complications. I was representing a special needs student, and for some reason, it appears to me that you have leaders in the school, and a principal's job, a vice principal's job, a counselor's job, a mental health counselor's job is to help support and to help lend aid. Now, here you got a student, even though he got ADD, or however they pronounce that. You're holding academic grades of 80. Uh, you're scoring 80 in your on just about across the board on your report card, but then they want to focus on the behavior. I want to know from you guys. It seems to be a problem. Should there be a separate high school or separate school facilities for special needs? I'm not talking, about, I don't want to use that word, but I think y'all know what I'm thinking. Um, Special needs can go many ways. I mean, you can have a person who might be a little slower than some kids, and then you have those ones who really need that special attention. But when your academics is matching up to a regular high school student, should that should that student be treated any different? Now, in this case, what I had to face and what I had to deal with, I hope I got some educators out there that can help me. What I had to deal with and stand up for a parent is it was an ongoing thing that they were calling and interrupting their job and everything else. And it was, I mean, as long as the kid is taking his medication, the kid is fine. But when you have kids with special needs, it's easy for, especially when they're easy to be provoked. And I had to fight the deal, because it appeared to me as this certain educator, and I don't want to call no names, but it appeared to me as he was using this kid's uh, special need academics in order to justify his reasons for wanting to dismiss this kid from being in the high school setting. Okay. And I felt that that was wrong, because I know this young man, and he is he's a very intelligent young man, and when you are provoked, uh, you it puts him in a like a cat in a corner. And the episode that I had with this certain principal is that when they called me over to the school, uh, yeah, he had already reached that 100 level, and his thermostat was really kicking overtime. But there's a way that you deal with, and you can calm down a kid with special needs, especially when they're on medications. And it just did not appear to me that this principal took this kid, and I'm quite sure there's others at heart. And when he and I began to dialect and started talking, I sat there and I listened to the reasonings that they were dealing with this young man's behavior, and I get it. Okay, I really do. I get it. It's not a it's not an easy job, but uh, there has to be some kind of level uh, of concern to the kids. And one of the things that I said to one of the assistants, she made an argument that, well, society won't accept his behavior, and they don't care, uh, how he is, how he get ticked off. They don't care uh, about his condition and whatnot. And I said, yeah, you're right, but first of all, before we set them to society, isn't it our job to teach them, to prepare them for society, instead of just turning our back and just letting them go? Uh, I saw some comments flashing while I was trying to get the big screen up so I can see, because I can't see TikTok over there. I can't see their comment. Lee says, I said this cause my niece has it, and she goes to regular school, but her class is smaller. Yeah, it's good to have a small class, but here is my thing, Lee, and here was my argument to this administration. In order for somebody to be ticked off or to be set off, okay, something first have to happen. Now you're looking at it, in my opinion, you're looking at it one-sided. uh to me, you're looking at that child behavior, but you're not looking at the full thing. What caused that child to react in the way that he react? What triggered that child? Now, here in this particular school, not only do you have a school counselor, but you also have a mental health counselor uh, that's there on premises, as well as the resource officer. Now, what do y'all think? What do you think? Do you think it's going to make this kid more irate if you call the resource officer before you call either the counselor or the mental counselor? Yeah, and you're right, Lee. They are. They're very intelligent. Kids with ADD, ADHD requires physical. Yeah, and I agree. They need that. Uh, and when you have special need teachers, okay, or you have the right environment, then I think things would be a bit different. But when you have the resources and you don't use those resources, and you want to punish the child because of their behavior. Now, uh, when we were in the meeting, the one counselor, she says that when she goes to talk to this student, when he gets, when somebody teases him off or says the wrong thing, and come on, let's face it, normal kids, especially in high school, they can be cruel. They can be very, very cruel and say things that they know is going to strike a nerve with these kids. And when they go off, it appears that it is only looked at from the kid side who goes off, and not any investigation or looking into to see what caused that kid to go off. In our jobs as family, we show him to realize it, and show him what he can do so we can help. Yeah, that's good. And that's what this family does. But when the family's not there, when they're in a different environment, they don't know, and they don't try to cater to these kids' needs. Kids can be very mean. Yes, they can. And when you're sending your child there, and you're constantly getting called, getting called, getting called, getting called. And I mean, this is over a period of time to where we finally reached the breaking point, to where I looked at this principal with all his PhDs and everything else, and I asked him the simple question: where is your compassion? Is it not? Y'all agree or disagree? Is it not the responsibility of the principal? We know he's the overseer of the school, but is it or is it not his responsibility to put the child's needs, health, and concerns first? No, and you're right. It's 5 o'clock. You're right. It doesn't. The degree. I mean, here. Wait. I haven't told you the fullness of this meeting yet, because I went to college. I don't have those big degrees like he got. But this dude, he was in. I mean, this was a brother. This was one that looked like me. Okay, and he was hell bent on putting his intellect against my argument. And I asked him a simple question. I said, "Well, wouldn't it have been easier just to remove him and put him in ISS?" And he said, "ISS." I said, "Yeah, do you know what ISS is?" He said, "Well, the terminology." I said, "No, can you tell me what is ISS?" Everybody knows that that's in school suspension, but he's the principal, and had to be shaded by the vice principal. The vice principal had to step, to step up. Now, here is what happened. When I got there to the school, the kid was frantic. It was frantic, and it was calling for me. And I got the kid, and I had the kid in my arms, and I had him. He was, leaning up against me, up against my shoulder, crying, frantically. And uh, I mean, is it really necessary for us as adults to really show aggressive authority to children? He made a remark. I can't make the comment on the remark that he made, and the kid went berserk. He slammed down on the table and he said, "This is the reason why I don't." Now, see, listen at what this kid said. This is the reason why I don't want to live. This is the reason why I don't want to be here. When we began to conversate, I was like, it's you. It was you. Look at how your words, and I mean, this principal slams down on the table and leans forward towards the kid. That's aggression. Of course, that kid is not going to calm down. He's going to get more amped up because he feels attacked. And I come to find out, and I'm bouncing around, but I think y'all get where I'm going with this dialogue. I come to find out that that's not the only school in Georgia that's doing this. And I'm wondering where or who's doing the picking, who's doing the. This school I'm talking about in the past, let's put it this way. The individual who is over special needs and is who in charge of gradings and whatnot to the state board for special needs told me this school winds up getting a new principal just about every year. And before they sent him to that school to kind of get things under control with that school, and the school he left from where he was at 20 something years, he said he never seen anything like it in his life. Yeah, that says a lot. That says a whole lot. And if we stop and when we dig into, if we really dig into, I don't know if you do it. When my kids was coming up, I stayed very close with the school. I got to know the teachers, the counselors. I got to know those that was on the board. I pretty much invested myself in, because see, one of the, you got to be careful as parents too. And I'm not just coming to the child's defense, but you got to be careful as parents too, because some kids will make you run up there and look like a fool. You got to make sure that you're not getting a lopsided story, and that you're getting a full understanding of the situation, and why is it. There's always two sides, always. But here, what sparked me to talk about this, it was a whole one-sided conversation. I mean, let me tell you, when I was talking, I never interrupted them. I let both him and the vice principal, and the counselor, everything, I let them talk. And when it was my turn to talk, and I pointed out to him how he made the situation worse with his aggression towards the student, he cut me off, and he began to proceed to tell me his position and how he felt his responsibility. I said, well, first of all, and then he said, no, 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 I'm talking. I said, oh, it's okay for you to cut me off, but it's not okay for me to cut you off. I said, wow, you're really educated. And he got heated just because I said that, and he stormed out of the meeting. Yeah, yes, he did. He got up and he stormed out of the meeting and looked at his vice principal and said, "You deal with this." Yeah, yeah, yeah. He gonna tell the vice principal why? Because you realized you wasn't dealing with no dummy. And you, just as you showed me the disrespect by walking out on a meeting that we're trying to get facts and we're trying to get, results, you showed yourself a real professional by doing what you did. And I tell you, I was just, I mean, that just turned me completely around. I couldn't understand it. Yeah, I mean, exactly, Andrea. And but yet still, we never get. And then when you go to ask about well, did you look into see what provoked it? What made him this upset? Well, of course, if you're gonna call obscenities at me, you're going to throw obscenities at me, and you're going to call me, this, that, and the other thing. And just about just about everyone in his wing knows about his situation with him losing his father, and the way that he lost his father. They use that and they provoke him with it, and then he's got this friend that he always want to protect, and she don't do nothing but get him in more trouble. Uh, but I had to ask you, are you looking at that side? Was he provoked before you walked into the room, or did he get or did he get provoked after you walked into the room? In other words, was the situation that bad you had to call the resource officer instead of calling the guidance counselor or the mental health counselor? Was it that bad that you had to just singly shut him down without actually showing some compassion and giving him an opportunity to calm down? Because once he calmed down, he'll talk to you. I mean, he even apologized for the act that he committed. A very humble child. It's just that with any child of that need, I mean, it's tough if you don't know how to deal with it. You can cause that individual to become suicidal. And when I tried to explain this to him, he didn't want to hear it. He did not want to hear it at all. He just wanted to. It was his way or the highway. And I simply just looked at him and I told him, I said, it's obvious. It's obvious to me that the team that you have here that to meet with us today uh, is already a set jury. You already have him crucified. You already have made up your mind that you want him out of your school. Forget about his academics. Forget about he's run. He's getting 80% of his grade score. across the board in math, history, reading, writing, all the things that they go. I mean, that has no weight. So you want to take his achievement, his academic achievement, because you don't know how to deal with a little bit of behavior, and you want to dismiss this young man. Uh, Hold on just a minute, y'all. Oh, who is it? Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that, but I had somebody at my front door, and I had to go get it. I had to go get it. It was my granddaughter. But I'm sure you guys you guys understand. I mean, that's something. What? Tell me, talk to me. If you have 1,000 or more followers, and you want to come in and join me live, and talk about our school system and the behaviors of special needs, because my question is, should there be a separate high school institution for special need children with ADD, ADHD? Should it be separated from regular high school? Do you think they'll get a better treatment? Or if you got 1,000 more followers, you want to come in the box, and you want to give your opinion, and you want to talk about it. The box is, it's open. Uh, Everybody has their view, and everybody has their opinion. We respect that. I know we're not going to agree on everything, but we can surely agree to disagree. Minister T, how you doing? We can surely agree to disagree, but it's a solution that we need to come to, because see, I forget who mentioned it earlier. I think it was Lee. I don't know. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Uh, Many of our ADA, and ADHD students are very intelligent. They're very smart, and when you have a kid like this kid I just defended before the holiday break, it's very intelligent young man, and in my opinion, I don't think he should be treated any different than a regular high school student. Uh, I think he should be able to remain there, and they have, especially when you have mental counselors on site, you have regular counselors on site, and they should be the ones when something arises from that causes them to be off balance from other students. I think they're the ones, should be the ones that be dealing with and handling these situations. Y'all gotta forgive me. I got YouTube and Facebook over here on this side, and I'm trying to give y'all some attention over here, and I got TikTok over here on the other side, because I'm doing some rearranging in my office, so I can pretty much look straight ahead. That's why we're working so hard with this laptop, trying to get it to where we can get everybody to be directly in front of me, and it's not like I'm trying to ignore anybody else. But anybody got any comment? Anybody got anything that you can share on this? Is there any educators out there? Is there any counselors out there? I normally would asked Coach B to come on the broadcast and discuss this with me. But she has classes on Thursday nights at the time that our broadcast comes on. So uh, I'm gonna have to see if I can do another night and looking into this more. But uh, y'all more than welcome. 5 o'clock, if you like to come in. You gave some good points there. Uh, yeah, adults have to set and be the example. And I am for one that's a little worried about our special need children. We come in all many different types, size, forms. Some is fast, some is slow, but we're still equal. Now. I told y'all I was going to do something biblical. Um, I was going to go to the archives, and I wanted to pull up because I forget exactly where we. I don't know if it was in the third chapter of Luke. I forget because we covered so much stuff in 2023. Uh, well, you know what, Andrea? I'm glad you did that because see, that's the meeting we was in. That's the meeting. The IEP meeting is what we was in, and this dude, all he wanted to do, Andrea, is hold sidebars because see, in our initial meeting before the IEP meeting, it was just the resource officer, myself, the student, and the ninth grade vice principal. I mean, the ninth grade principal, and the ninth grade principal, who had a history with this young man, and but he seemed to talk more level headed, and he was more understanding to listen to the defense that I was giving on this child's behalf. And the principal of the high school, he was the one that was hell bent. And that's bad when when you trying to get a result, and then next thing he shows his rear end. What are the behavior modifications? Uh, I mean, he's on medication. I think it's for ADHD is what he's on medication for, and he's had a rough time. I will say. I will say that he's had a rough time. The young man has gone through a struggle, and again, my whole thing is why should I make him suffer because of an illness that he did not ask for, but that it can be managed? Uh, why punish? Why punish him? Why should we single? Why should he be singled out? If his academics, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, if his academics didn't meet up to standard, then I would say he might need to be placed in another institution. Maybe a slower institution. Uh, uh, but if if he's meeting the grade for his I don't know what's the proper way to say it, for his special need, if he's meeting those academic requirements. I mean, if your teachers are scoring you 80%, I mean, I mean, and you're a special need. To me, that's pretty doggone good. Um, that shows me that you have some intelligence, and that you shouldn't be totally dismissed from participating in regular activities, as long as you can do the work. Everybody got anger issues they need to work on. Hey, I got anger issues I need to work on. There's some things that gets next to me sometimes, that people say, words really do hurt, and you have to be mindful and careful. And as 5 o'clock said, um, it's just, yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, I struggle with this. I struggle with this thing because it's still. See, and she was so right when she said adults had to set the example. If I am the leader, if I'm the head, and I expect results, then I gotta make the first move. I gotta be the one that says, okay, I need this young man is having some issues. I need to reach out, whether it's to the school board, whether it's going through the mental health department of the school, the counseling department of the school. What now? I need to get together with them and say, look, what can we do to help this young man to keep and stay focused? Too many, Minister T says, too many aren't leading by example. It says some called leaders. You know what, Minister T, you're right. You're absolutely 100% absolutely right. I mean, if you want to join me in the box, you can. I mean, I'll put the offer out there, y'all. I'm not the expert on everything. I have learned from experience. I have dealt with children, uh, being a resource officer, being a track coach, being a parent, being a leader in ministry. I've got my share of experience, but I'm not a master at it, and there are some things that I still seek understanding on, and try to get some help on. Let me jump over here, go to the comments. Let me see. I don't know. Facebook, y'all be having the comment sections open, and I'll be looking at the numbers of y'all that be watching, and y'all can't tell me that y'all don't have no comments or anything. But that's just it's something we need as a village, as a society. This is why the village is so important, because in society, this is something that we need to get a hold and get an understanding on. How can I teach my kid not to be a bully to some special need children if I don't even know anything about ADHD or ADA? If I know nothing about it, I mean, some parents these days today, they'll say, that ain't my problem to know. That's none of my business to know. Well, if I'm going to be a mm, respectable, if I'm going to be respectable in society, I should learn all I can learn on how to, when I see someone with a special need, or if I see someone that is may not have what I have, or even them that got more than what I got. I need to learn how to respect others. because when you respect others, you gain a great deal. The lesson I was talking about that we were that I was going to reference in this is in the it's in the teaching. It's in the book of Luke. I think it's the fourth or the third chapter, and Luke lays out, and we get the understanding of how the proper way to appoint leaders. And I think we're appointing the wrong leaders in the wrong places by popularity. Education is one of the biggest things down here that we can grasp onto, that we can hold on to, that we can push. Let me jump back over here, Minister T. Uh, yeah, uh, we need to we Minister T, we got to learn as much as we can, and not only about our culture, our inheritance, but by others. I mean, we got a world of knowledge to sift through and to get, and it's just amazing. And so I just wanted to get others' opinions who have dealt with that, and then part two. I was going to do a 1 and 2 hour, a 1 or 2 hour show tonight, depending on the responses that we get. Are you vetting your schools? Are you vetting the teachers that are overseeing your children? And I'm not saying all of them are bad. There's some schools that got some good leaders in them, and that really cares about a child's academics. And for me, that's my biggest thing is I think the academic. If we can teach them in school, they will be able and better to perform in society. Not only the regular normal individual, but even those with special needs. And like I said, I know a lot of them, and they are very, very intelligent kids. And I see a lot of them who take their future and their place in society very seriously. But are we damaging, as leaders, are we causing more harm than good? I guess I can put it that way. Are we causing more harm than good uh, when we're picking? See, here's another thing. I said this all along. What do y'all think about, instead of the school board being the institution that appoints, that the people should have a say? I mean, you a parent, shouldn't you have a say so in who's overseeing your children? We also have to hold the parents accountable. I agree, Minister T. I agree, and 5 o'clock even said it. The adults have to show. We have to be the leaders. We have to be the example. And when we and this is what happens. Somebody gonna get mad, but I don't know any other way to say it. Uh, when you're parenting, uh, hmm, I'm trying to use a more calmer word. Uh, they're ignorant parents. Okay. I mean, we got some ignorant parents who want, they don't understand themselves, first of all, what their role is. And these are, and when you look at it, when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, and you start looking at both sides instead of one side, you will find out that the kids that's doing the most damage to these other kids are the kids with no home training. They're the ones that you find 9 times out of 10. They're the ones that have no home training. Yeah, they get it from toxic parents. I mean, just because you were raised, see, I change with the times. And my wife and I, we always talk about this. Because see, we're like, you know, that old saying, you can't teach old dog new tricks. And we get stuck in our ways of how we were brought up, the things we were taught. But you know what? The one thing that we were taught that never changed, respect. Respect. It never changed. We didn't make fun of kids that was different. One of my best friend was born, we, you know, was short with his, you know, his arm wasn't fully developed. That boy could play baseball, basketball, football, and we didn't treat him with no different than we treated, you know, all of us with our, you know, full limbs fully intact. And but somewhere along the line, we say we broke the general, you know, the generational curse, but I don't know. uh that could still be a matter of speaking, but somewhere along the line, that respect either got misplaced or it got lost, because kids nowadays don't have no respect. How many out there, whether you from the north or the south, how many of y'all remember when a young woman uh, made a mistake and wound up pregnant, and how they were dealt with? It was a shame. We, you know, the parents there, you know, they were ashamed, and they didn't want other people to know that their child was pregnant 13, 14, 15, 16 years of age, which pretty much, if anything happened there, was in high school. You were just right around 15, 16 years old. But they would get sent away. They would get isolated. They would get sent away, and it was swept under the rug. And mama became auntie. And then when the child gets older and find out the one he was calling auntie was really his mama, gets damaged. That's like a crazy rule. Before we left Connecticut, one of the big talks that was put out was building daycares in the school, in the high schools. Why in the world would you want to build a daycare in the high school, what message are you sending? I mean, if that's your case of form, if that's your form, in case of uh, education, then I think I have to be one of the ones that push back and reject that, uh, because what it tells me, and when they were talking, I was like, yeah, I told my girls, I said, you better think about it before you try it. Uh, Daycares has no place in high schools because it sends a message. And that's the other thing, as leaders and as parents, that we have to watch out for. We can change our young society by the way that we lead, by the way that we teach and show them the proper way. This is how you carry yourself. This is how you take care of yourself. This is how you make yourself, presentable. This is how you make yourself prominent. And for those of you that's not, Christian based, uh, don't take me the wrong way, but and I respect where you are, but it all starts with God. It all starts with, if you're teaching your children how to behave at home, uh, uh, share at home, spread abroad. Some school has a class daycare, but it's to show them how to become a teacher and the kid. Uh, I'm gonna push. I hear you, and that's one of the things, Lee. I disagree. I totally disagree with. There is no place, because see what that tells me is I'm telling my child it's okay to go out there, and whether you call it a mistake or you just, it's just a mishap, whatever you want to call it. That's telling me, you sending me a permission. It's okay, I can go out there, I can lay around, I can get pregnant, and still go to school. And what, no, there's a cost that comes along with that their decision. Uh, Take a permitted statement. That's right. Daycare should never be. No, it shouldn't, Mister T. But then that's just our opinion. You understand what I'm saying? I understand where Lee. I get what Lee is saying. I don't know if she agreeing with it or disagreeing with it, but um, uh, I will not really. I was not ready to daycare because they are actually teaching the child. Yeah, they're teaching the child that it's okay. When you're going in that form, when you're going that direction, you're telling the child it's okay. Uh, there's no consequences to pay. Okay, uh, for that action. Uh, uh, can't let people see. Hey, Mr. T, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Amen. Amen. I tell my cat, you better not scratch up that wall, because if you do, you sin. And I make her spend the night on the porch. But we have to send our children the right message. But you know, even us that teach the right things at home, we have to have partners. We have to have leaders out there that is on the same page, and going in the same direction, teaching our kids. It's actually considered a preschool, and the high school kids are the teachers. Showing. Give me some more. Finish that off, Lee. Showing. Um, Ladies, men, we had. I don't know about y'all, but we had it too. We had parenting classes, sex education. We had those, and uh, we had the little baby dolls that we had to take care of to teach us a lesson on how it's not that easy. The 3 or 4 year old math English writer. Mm. Oh my goodness. I can't go. I wouldn't go for that. I wouldn't go for. Yes, you can. You sure can, Lee. Yeah. Let me bring you in here, girl. And anybody else that want to come in, come on. If y'all want to come in, come on in. I sent it to you, Lee. There she go. Let me let me turn this. Let me turn the other mic around so they can hear you over on. Okay. Yes. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. That's all right. I know who you is, Lee. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Right, right, and now I like that. I like that there, Lee, and I'm glad you came in and explained it in the manner that you did. And I think Minister T and I were more on the side of the sex education, side of it is the pregnancy side and having daycares in school for these young underage women, young ladies who get pregnant at a very early age and wind up, because there's a lot of responsibility coming with, being a parent. And the ideal of having a daycare just so that they didn't have to miss school uh, does not, in my opinion, it does not show responsibility, or does it, teaches consequence. Now, what you're talking about, and that there, oh, I agree with that 100%. That's an awesome program. Uh, but to open the door to these young women to say, oh, just because you get pregnant, uh, you know, you gotta, you can bring your baby to school and put them in the daycare. It wasn't nothing like that. Yeah, and see, and that's what Minister T and I was that's the path we were on. We were disagreeing with. It's nothing like that. When they do that, it's not. It's considered for them to become teachers and get credit for it. That's why they have. It's not considered a daycare. It's actually considered for your toddler to go to like a preschool. Right. Right. That's why they have those classes. Yes, my next to the baby, when she was when she was in high school, she did a documentary on parent and child behavior. She studied child psychology and child's behavior, and her thing was the documentary that she did showed the difference between a child's ability of knowing and adults means of teaching. And let me break it down. What they did was I set up the camera and they put the kids. There was, all races, and they put them in a playroom together, and they left the parents out. And the kids, they played with one another. They didn't have any disputes with one another. They didn't have any arguments. They shared. They got along real great. And the whole thing, the exercise of this was to show our parenting skills. Now after that, they brought the parents into the room, and man, oh man, what a difference! When they brought the parents in the room, the children separated themselves uh, according to the way they were taught about other kids. And the little white girl, the little Chinese girl, the little, the little Spanish boy, and etc. All them children that was playing and getting along so well together. When the parents entered the room, it was a shocker on how all of a sudden the little white girl didn't want to play with the little, the little black girl, or the little Spanish boy didn't want to, play, with the Oriental kid, and it showed us that It's what we teach and our children. When you teach your children hate, as minister T called it. Let me go back. What did you call that? Toxic. Minister T says that, when the toxic parents teach toxic and send toxic messages, this is what the child is instilled in them, and it becomes poison, to where we get to these points to where now, they reach that high school level, and they reach in society with the hate in their heart and the malice, and it has gotten so to where we and I know this is, I don't I'm going to speak for what I see from my people. Okay, all of God's people is my people. All right, just so y'all understand that all of God's people is my people. All right, but we have molded ourselves into our child's behaviors. You see now, because of the toxic training, mothers want to look like daughters. I'm sorry, but we gonna age. I tell my wife, tease my wife all the time. I said, honey, because I got a clock up here to kind of keep me in line with the time. And I told her, I said, honey, I need me another clock. She said, what you need with another clock? I said, I need to put it down lower so I can just, now see, I got one over here that I can just turn my head and I can see. She said, well, why don't you want to look at the one up there? I said, because when I do, you see all these wrinkles in my neck. We age, but because I get older, that does not mean I have to dress and act like my son. That's toxic. Ooh, I got tie tongued on that one. When you see 30s, 40s, 50-year-old, uh, you're running around there, you dress your butt cheek halfway showing out, and you dressing like your daughter, you're acting like your daughter. And then when they get into stuff and they wind up in these situations, then you want to become a parent. No, it's too late. It's too late. You got to start out being the parent. You got to start out being the adult. My kids and my wife, their mother, they know that we drew a line. There's a line, and it's been a generational line all the way down from the beginning, that there is a separation between parenthood and friendship. I can't parent you properly and be your best friend at the same time. I can't do it. That's impossible. I can't lead you. That's sort of like Lee. When we go back to last night's teaching, from Monday and Tuesday night, I should say, not last night because I was off yesterday. From Monday and Tuesday, it goes right back. Can the blind lead the blind? That's what's happening now today in today's society, and it's pouring out into our schools, and it ties into all of these school shootings because of the toxic teaching and the hating that is being poured out. Going back to the Melendez brothers, and it's all this build up toxic hate because we fail to do the proper teaching. And even us, and I'm gonna say my PK children, I got my children, they got their ways, and Lord knows, I did my best. I'm proud of them. I did my best. Uh, but they are adults now, and they are now coming into their own age and understanding the teachings and the rules that we had laid down. Just imagine if Jesus left no rules. They would have ran rampant. And seeing when we don't lay down the rules in our home and teach our children, wait a minute, you the child, I'm the parent. There's no equal billings here, buddy. No, no, no. Because see, now that's where we get into the word where you spare the rod, you spoil the child. And it boomerangs right back to our opening question and conversation that when you get children with the that is diagnosed with ADHD, and then they're put into the regular high school system, and these toxic kids who do not understand the condition, compassion, or pretty much putting it, the respect of other people. These are the situation that it puts these ADHD children in and causes their behaviors to be out of alignment with their academics. It's no difference the same way in the home. It's no difference even in your church. If the pastor does not lay down the rules, the church will run rapid. Could you imagine if God just says, okay, all y'all knuckleheads, come on up here? Could you imagine what heaven would be like? If that was the case, okay, Lord, I might as well stay down here. So you see, you see where we're coming from, and there's, they always say that, let's do something before we hit the point of no return. Well, when is that point of no return? We've been doing it over decades. We've been trying to do it over decades. I have to have an open mind with my teenage granddaughters than I did with my teenage daughters, because times change. So many of us, believers, y'all know, we just dealt with that. You either dedicated or you're, you know, something else. We have to change. God made a change from the garden. When Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden, it caused a change. On down the line, throughout the Old Testament, there was changes. Starting from leadership. Adam was a leader. He was the father. He was the earth father. Eve was the earth mother. But there was a shift. Even in my generation, there was a shift. I no longer live Mosaic. I live under the new covenant. We live under the new covenant. And the more we go into it, it breaks down into a personal thing. And when it breaks down into the personal thing, then we understand there's a shift, there's a change. But how do we deal with it? How do we handle it? Okay, Lee. God bless you, darling. Thanks for coming in and sharing. I was kind of shocked because you know I always be trying to get you to get in the box, but I guess it'd be always at the time that you be at work. And that change comes down, and I didn't know which one I was going to go with, the voting or uh, the changes in our school system, academic, not academics, but school, our I want to say school board uh, body, uh, the body board, however you want to put it, however you want to lead it, um, and how we are we looking at, are we vetting, we're looking into these changes, these things here. Uh, I'm gonna close out unless it's somebody there's somebody that wants to bring a little more to the table, bring a little more to this discussion. I know it's not a hot one. It's not news breaking, but it's something that we ought to consider because look at the generation we're coming into. And if we want our children to be treated equally and fairly, then we must do something. A change must come over the school board system that makes it equal, that each child, regardless of their ability, has the proper means and to put them in the proper place, to give them the proper education and the proper start uh, to society, and not just give up, on them. I know many of schools. I had to deal with this in Connecticut when I was on the board in Connecticut. Um, it's too many schools, trying to push numbers instead of pushing uh, education. They don't care. Now you can't tell me you're gonna graduate a kid from your high school who can't read or write and then call that year a success. No, that is a failure. We got to get more active in our communities about what's happening and what's taking place in our children's lives. And parents, we got to stop playing these games. If you're a parent, I'll tell you, my kids, they're not perfect. They're far from perfect. They have their ups, their downs. They make their mistakes. But the word tells us, if we, and I'm paraphrasing, that if we just teach them right and bring them up in the right way, that when they get older, they shall not depart from it. All that, and pretty much what that means is all of that is going to come back to them. I sit and I have wholesome conversations with my youngest son, and he's getting ready to be reinducted into the ministry. He was a youth pastor, a youth leader at one time, and kind of drifted. But great glory be to God. He's getting ready. He's back. He and I have soul search conversations, and he looks back and he sees the struggle now having to be that type of parent. And he's quick. He'll say, "Dad, I'm so sorry." I say, "Son, don't apologize. You had to go through, and we all have to go through it. And we can reach our children if we just talk to them. Uh, Granted, we're not going to get them all. Uh, there's some out there who just got caught up in the rat race, and we try to reach them. We can reach a pretty good deal of them, but then there are those that are still lost. But we thank God anyway. If we continue to hold wholesome conversation, sit down with your child and don't talk at your child, but talk with your child. Listen to them. You will be surprised on the things that they refuse to tell you because of the fear that they have, that you will not accept it. But if you talk with them and be earnest with them, then you can teach them. You can help them to see. My granddaughter and I, my 16-year-old granddaughter, I hold debates with her because, and the reason I do it is not because she's, boastful. I'm a Southern boy. Uh, it's because it instills in her that she not only has a voice, but she has a mission. And she's very good at making points. And if it's something she don't understand, she's very good at looking into it and getting all that she can get out of it. And if I tell her something of history, and she said, "Well, Papa, what is that? What are you talking about? What do you mean?" And then I get into the history of it, and it intrigues her. So she begins to dig into the history, and then she begins to put more weapons into her arsenal. The teachers love her to death. She stays on the principal's list and the dean's. I know she's going to remain on the dean's list, but I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. I'm just saying I had to learn. My daughters, they taught me a lot. Because see, when they were coming up in my home, if you wasn't listening to gospel music, you wasn't listening to no music at all. And it was a very tight military type home, and I was very strict with my children, and sometimes we drift from one another, but then I have to ask myself the question, well, uh, uh, how is my approach? And that documentary I was telling you about kind of really helped me out a lot. And as they were getting older, just communicating with them and talking with them. And even though, with some stuff in the past that they expressed, and they said, well, could have been different. But nevertheless, the teachings that we taught them, they held on to them, and they respected them. And so when they got picked on, because I used to get picked on a lot when I was in junior high school, uh, and that caused me to get into a lot of fights. And when I never forget the one that I got into, and it's because it was a Kentucky boy. We called them hillbillies at the time, and he called me out my name. He called me that N word, and I commenced to tear into him like a wild buffalo. Tear, or I should say, like a tiger would tear into his prey. Uh, and man, my daddy, I thought I was the winner until my dad got there, and we got home. I got suspended. We got home, and I think I still wear it on my backside. Uh, and he said, "Let me tell you what you're about to embark in." He said, "When you were born and when you looked at your birth certificate, what was your name?" And I told him my full name. And he said, "I never heard in," but he said the actual word. He said, y'all forgive me, but he said, I don't see nigga on your birth certificate, and I don't remember your mother, picking that out of no book or anywhere. He said, but this is one lesson I want you to learn for life forever. Is if anybody ever call you out of your name and you react to it, then that makes you the fool. You're the loser. And I'll never, ever, ever forget that. And those was the kind of trainings, and that helped me to get through my junior high and high school year. Uh, Even though I started out slow because I got teased a lot by my cousins. My aunt used to have us read, egg and ham books, those books, children books, and I would stumble over some words, and my cousins then would make a fun of me and call me names, and it just made me not want to read. And when I finally saw how damaging that was, and how I allowed them to hinder me, I began reading Jet magazines. Oh, thank God for Jets and Reader's Digest. I began to read their Reader's Digest, and got myself with some help back on track, and that helped me. We didn't have no special name, for those who had to sit in special classes, but y'all get the point. Y'all get where I'm going with this topic and with this conversation. Like I said, it's not a explosive type conversation, but it's a conversation nevertheless that we need to embark in, and that we need to train our children. It's not too late. We can still train our children. Even my 40-year-old, I still throw stuff at her, and I don't let their minds rest. Amen. And when I run into families like this with this young man, my heart goes off, my soul. I'm a stickler about, if you're wrong, you're wrong. But I'm also a stickler about standing up for what is right. It doesn't have to be my child. It is all God's children. And it's about the village. It's about us standing up for one another. It's about us looking out for one another. It's about us lifting up and encouraging one another. And when we can do that, we need to come together, and we need to get on that voting bandwagon and watching who we're voting for. And we may not have no control over voting for principals, vice principals, and etc., but we sure have a vote in city council. Amen. That we can stand up, even in the Board of Education. We can stand up for the rights of our children against the Board of Education. But when we listen to idiotic, toxic messages about, don't vote for this, don't vote for that, just because you don't vote, that's on you. You don't have a say so when things get messed up and when things go wrong. Look at McCarthy. See, now there's a Benedict Arnold for you. Uh, Now they got him up for impeachment. See, he gave up the majority from the Democrat. He lost us the majority in the House, Senate, because he saw something bigger than himself. And they sweetened him up. See, that Republicans, they sweetened him up. They made him they made him feel so good, and with West Virginia to hold up this, that, and the other thing, and got him over there on that side. And now look at it, they kicking him out, they impeaching him. They want to get rid. See, now he should have remained. He should have remained where he was. But see, when we don't vet the people we vote for, we make the greatest mistake we ever could make. But the biggest mistake we could ever make is not to vote. When you think about it, when you say, "Oh, I'm not going out to that poll," I don't care. Every time I go to the voting poll, whether it's local, for our community, whether it's city council, whether it's for governor, for mayor, for senate representative, president, you know, every time I go to that booth and I vote, I say, this is the vote that's going to make the difference. This is the vote that's going, my vote is going to make the difference in what happens to my future, to my children's future. Now, get this. And I'm saying, I'm putting these two together because I want you to understand. If we raise enough concern to the Board of Education about special need and regular high school, we can make a change. We can make it better, that we can get equal billings on both sides. We can get those special needs students the care and the concern. Why? How can you say that, Elder? It's very simple. Look at the money. If you own your property and you pay taxes, I don't care whether you got kids in school or out of school. Those of you that ain't got kids in high school, guess what? Your property tax, you have school tax as well added in. You paying for somebody's child to be educated, so why shouldn't you have a say so? Every time we pay tax, we invest ourselves into the government system, and we have rights. It's just that we buckle at the knees. Could you imagine when David stepped out in front of the legion of soldiers to take on Goliath? Could you imagine if David had said, "Oh my God, he's boo," his knees start buckling and he couldn't do his job? Man, could you imagine if he allowed that giant to defeat him? But David was determined. He had a determination. He had a will that his future was not going to be destroyed by the enemy. And this is why David hung in there. Nobody would stand up against this 8 foot, 9 foot giant. But little old David, just think of yourself as little old David. You can make a big difference. You can make a big change. And you can do your children well. You're gonna do somebody's child well, because see, you're not gonna get out them taxes there, baby. You're gonna have to pay those taxes, so you might as well. Don't let anybody tell you not to vote. If you so choose that you don't want to vote, then here is a word of wisdom. Don't complain. If you choose not to vote, then don't complain, because you gave up your right to say so. You refuse not to vote. So now you just got to take it. You got to take whatever is issued out, whatever enters the White House, whatever enters the Senate or the House, or in or what, whoever takes a seat on the council. If you take no interest, you have no say, none whatsoever. But it all starts and it all ends with you. We can make it. We can make a change. All right. All right. It has been a pleasure. I thank God for the conversation that we were able to have. Thank my Podbean family over there for joining and listening in. We want to thank our VMUC live stream for our broadcast there to Facebook and to Tubi and to YouTube. We're going to find out what's going to happen with Instagram. We don't know what's going on. I looked at some messages and I see that I'm not the only podcast host that's having the problem with the connection with Instagram. So, TikTok, my TikTok family, God bless you. Thank you. You guys always have been a big supporter, and we look forward. We look forward to it. Tomorrow night is old school, old school. Andrea, Marie, how far back? How far back y'all want me to go tomorrow night? Uh, Tomorrow night, old school. Y'all know it's getting close to Christmas, so First Lady might tell me to get behind the wheel of that vehicle and take her here, there, and everywhere. Boy, her and her sister shot me to death the last 2 days. I had to take me a rest. My driving skills is good, but oh, my body just cries out, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, when I get back home. Y'all women can shop. I got to get it. I mean, my hat's off to y'all. I don't know how y'all can do it 2-3 hours in one store and then still travel to some more stores to spend more time. I'm like, oh, I don't know who was happier when they finally said, let's go home, me or my credit card. But 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 no, boy, I'm telling you, boy, if y'all, boy, men, if you want to learn how to shop, man, hang with these women, boy, they'll teach you something. My Lord, my Lord. So, but if they don't have no journey for me tomorrow night, and we'll go into some old school. Y'all just gotta let me know how far back y'all want me to go. Uh, let's see what we went 60, 70, 80s. Um, uh, we did 40s and 50s too, right? Okay, you want to go with the 70s, Andrea? Okay. All right. Well, we'll pull up some new stuff for tomorrow night from the 70s. We'll pull up some good stuff from the 70s. All right, my people. That's my time. We're gonna get up and we're gonna get out of here. It's supper time. And I will see you all on tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. for our old school gospel concert. Amen. Amen. My TikTok family, thank you, my moderators. Job well done. Uh, we always appreciate you guys. We were supposed to have been long gone, but y'all, well, if y'all ain't gonna let us go, we ain't gonna let y'all go either. Amen. Amen. We love our First Lady and I love our family over there. God bless you. Have a safe, have a blessed night. And remember what we always say here at New Vision: if God can't go, Andrea, I'm going to let go of Facebook and